All right, strap yourselves in because this deep dive is going to be a wild one.
Ooh, I like where this is going. What kind of wild are we talking about here? Jungle wild. Deep space wild.
Think cosmic temper tantrum, like a star throwing a fit kind of wild.
Sounds intense.
That's because it is. We got sent this analysis of solar storms.
Solar storms, huh? Those are always good for some fun. What's the take this time?
Well, it's got enough doom and gloom to make a doomsday prepper double-check their bunker supplies.
So the usual end of the world as we know it kind of stuff.
Pretty much. But don't worry, we're not just going to sit here and regurgitate the fear-mongering. We're going to break it down. The facts, the fiction, the maybe slightly exaggerated parts.
I like it. A healthy dose of skepticism.
Exactly. Plus, we might even have a little fun poking some holes in those apocalyptic scenarios along the way.
All right, I'm in. Let's get this solar storm party started.
So before we start digging into the end of the world, let's start with the basics. What exactly is a solar storm? For those of us who haven't brushed up on our astrophysics lately.
You're asking the right questions. At its core, a solar storm is like a giant sneeze from the sun.
A sneeze. That doesn't sound so bad.
Well, instead of germs, this sneeze blasts out a wave of electromagnetic pulses, high-energy particles, and a whole cloud of plasma.
Okay, maybe a bit more intense than your average sneeze then.
Just a little. And the thing is, this solar sneeze can reach Earth in a matter of minutes.
Minutes. Like we wouldn't even have time to grab our sunscreen.
Not even close. And when it hits, it can mess with our tech, our infrastructure, basically everything we rely on.
Like a giant cosmic EMP blast, right? That's what they always show in the movies.
You got it. Imagine our electronics frying, communication systems going haywire, the whole 9 yards.
So basically back to the Stone Age. Hunting for our food and sending smoke signals to chat with the neighbors.
Yeah, think of it like a forced digital detox, but on a global scale.
Okay, so no more doom scrolling on social media. I can get used to that. But seriously, how bad could these disruptions really get? I mean, the analysis mentions blackouts, cities catching fire, the whole shebang.
Right, they tend to go a little heavy on the drama. But there's some truth to those scenarios. Those solar storms can induce some serious currents in our power grids.
And that can cause blackouts.
Right.
Like that time my power went out for a few hours and I thought the world was ending because I couldn't watch Netflix.
Exactly. Now multiply that by 1 million. Widespread blackouts, transportation systems shutting down, you name it.
All right, I'm starting to see where the whole doomsday prepping comes in. But what about the cities catching fire thing? Is that actually possible or just some Hollywood embellishment?
Well, a city spontaneously combusting might be a bit of an exaggeration, but the science behind it isn't completely out there.
So you're saying it could happen?
A strong enough geomagnetic storm could induce currents in metal, overheat wiring, and potentially spark some fires.
Okay, maybe we should hold off on the whole citywide bonfire thing.
Mhm.
But I'm definitely feeling the need for some extra batteries and flashlights now, just in case.
It never hurts to be prepared.
But tell me, has something like this ever happened before? A solar storm so powerful it actually caused major damage.
You're talking about the Carrington Event, right? Back in 1859.
The Carrington Event. Sounds like a fancy dinner party.
More like a cosmic party crasher. It was the most powerful solar storm ever recorded.
Oh, wow. So what happened? Did it, fry all the toasters in the world?
Back then, technology was limited to telegraph systems, but even those went haywire. Operators getting shocked, sparks flying from the equipment.
Ouch. That sounds intense.
It was. Imagine that kind of power unleashed on our modern world, our super-connected, tech-dependent society. It wouldn't be pretty.
No kidding. That's got to be what this analysis is getting at, right? The potential for chaos in our modern world.
Exactly. Global blackouts, fried satellites, communication breakdowns. They even mentioned potential data loss on a massive scale.
Data loss. Now you're speaking my language. That's serious stuff.
No more cat videos, no more selfies. Imagine all those precious memories gone in a flash.
Okay, now I'm getting nervous. But if these solar storms are so unpredictable and powerful, what can we actually do to protect ourselves? Are we just sitting ducks here?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And luckily, that's exactly what we're going to explore next.
All right, cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You know how to keep an audience on the edge of their seats. I'm already hooked.
So are we sitting ducks? Well, not exactly. There are things we can do, but it's not as simple as, throwing on a raincoat.
Oh, no. I was hoping a fashionable tinfoil hat would do the trick.
I'm afraid not, though I wouldn't mind seeing you rock one. This analysis actually talks about space weather forecasting.
Like predicting the cosmic weather.
Exactly. We've got NASA's Advanced Composition Explorer, or ACE, keeping an eye on the sun for any trouble.
So it's our solar storm alarm system. Does it send out like an email alert or something? Warning, incoming solar flare.
It'd be nice, right? Subject: incoming solar flare, please back up your cat videos ASA.
Right. I'd at least have time to charge my phone, document the apocalypse on Instagram.
We can dream. But seriously, ACE can detect those storms and give us some warning.
Okay, so warning. But how much time are we talking here?
An hour, maybe?
An hour. That's barely enough time to finish my coffee, let alone prepare for the end of the world as we know it.
It's not a lot, but it's better than nothing. The analysis really stresses that every minute counts.
I guess so. At least it's enough time to panic scroll through Twitter one last time.
Maybe hold off on that. An hour might be enough for power companies to do some things to protect the grid. Think grounding flights, hospitals prepping for potential issues.
So a little bit of time for some damage control.
Exactly.
Okay, but hold on. Didn't this analysis mention something about the moon having our back?
The moon, well, not literally having our back, but there is this interesting idea that it could offer some protection.
The moon protecting us. That
Ah.
sounds a little far-fetched.
I know, right? But think about it. The moon's size, where it's positioned, it could act as a shield, deflecting some of that energy and those particles headed toward us.
Like a cosmic bodyguard.
Yeah.
I suddenly have a lot more respect for those moonlit walks.
Right. It's definitely food for thought. Plus, we know the moon blocks space debris and stuff. Its size and placement, maybe it's not just random chance.
All right, you've almost convinced me to cancel my bunker construction plans. Almost. But even with the moon on our side, it sounds like we're still kind of vulnerable.
Vulnerable, yes, but not helpless. This analysis really digs into personal preparedness.
Oh no, not the doomsday prepper talk again.
It's not just about hoarding supplies, though that's part of it. It's also about being mentally ready.
So, like mentally preparing for a world without endless Wi-Fi.
Exactly. Having a plan, knowing what to expect, being able to roll with the punches.
I don't know about you, but I'm not sure I'm ready for a forced break from the internet. It's like a digital detox gone wrong.
It's all about perspective. Think of it as a chance to reconnect with the simpler things in life. You know, like learning to build a fire, foraging for food.
Okay, you're starting to sound like a survivalist guru.
But seriously, this analysis highlights something important. We're so reliant on technology. It's good to remember how to function without it.
You know, you're right. It's like we've become so disconnected from the natural world. Maybe a solar storm wouldn't be the worst thing to shake things up a bit.
Maybe not.
But hold on, we can't forget about the elephant in the room, the whole 2025 prediction.
The manga artist's dream, you mean?
Yeah, that one. That's the part that really makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Dreams are strange things, not exactly known for their scientific accuracy. But 2025, it's not just random, right?
Yeah, we were talking about the sun's activity peaking that year, so maybe there's something to it after all.
It does make you think. And whether or not this dream is some kind of prophecy, it does underscore something important.
Like that.
We really are connected to this giant ball of fire in the sky. We depend on it for life, but it can also throw a curveball our way.
Okay, you've officially freaked me out. I'm gonna go stock up on batteries and ramen noodles now, just in case.
It's always good to be prepared.
All right, so we've got solar storms, the moon, and a prophecy involving a manga artist. What else could possibly be in store for us?
Well, there's one more aspect to this analysis we haven't touched on yet, and it's a big one.
Oh, do tell. I'm all ears.
Remember how we were talking about the sun's activity peaking in 2025?
Yeah, like it's gonna be one giant cosmic rave.
Not quite a rave, but the analysis dives into what that peak activity could actually mean for us. More sunspots, more flares.
And more solar storms, right? That's the part I'm not so thrilled about.
Exactly. And this is where that 2025 prediction comes back in. The manga artist's dream.
Oh, right, the dream. So what did it say exactly? Did it give, like, specific dates and times we should avoid going outside?
I wish it were that simple. The analysis is a little vague on the specifics, but it basically describes a massive solar storm causing all kinds of havoc. You know, the classic end of civilization as we know it kind of scenario.
Back to the Stone Age? No internet, no Netflix. We've heard it all before.
It's a familiar theme, for sure, but it does make you think, doesn't it? What if this dream is more than just a random dream?
I don't know. I'm not really one for putting too much stock in dreams. But the fact that it coincides with the sun's peak activity, that's got to be more than just a coincidence, right?
It's definitely interesting timing.
Yeah, interesting might be one word for it. But is there anything in the analysis that actually suggests this dream might be a glimpse into the future? Or are we just connecting the dots where there aren't any.
It's tough to say for sure, but I think the bigger point here, the thing this whole 2025 prediction really highlights, is that we are at the mercy of the sun. We rely on it for life, but it can also be a pretty formidable force.
That's a bit of an understatement, don't you think? I mean, we're talking about a giant ball of burning gas that can shoot out waves of energy capable of wiping out our entire technological infrastructure.
Okay, maybe formidable is putting it mildly. But my point is, whether or not this dream is some sort of prophecy, it's a good reminder to be prepared, not just for solar storms, but for the unexpected in general.
That's a good point. We like to think we're in control, but sometimes the universe has other plans.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the key takeaways from this whole deep dive. It's not just about solar storms and doomsday predictions. It's about acknowledging our place in this vast, often unpredictable universe.
And maybe a little bit about learning to laugh at the absurdity of it all, right? I mean, who would have thought we'd be sitting here discussing a manga artist's dream as a potential predictor of the future?
You got to find the humor where you can,
No.
especially when you're talking about potentially catastrophic cosmic events.
Well said. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the final message we want to leave our listeners with?
I'd say this. The universe is a wild and wonderful place, full of mysteries and surprises. Some of those surprises might be a little more intense than others, but that's all part of the adventure.
I like that. Embracing the adventure, even when it comes with the side of solar flares. And hey, if we happen to learn a thing or two about space weather forecasting along the way, that's a bonus.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, especially when you're dealing with a star that has a bit of a temper.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder those cosmic mysteries. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and remember, even in the face of a cosmic temper tantrum, there's always room for a little laughter.